Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Blossoming Unity. We are Dennis and Nicole, and we are here to introduce you into the conversation about different spiritual perceptions, techniques, and methodologies in order for you to have inspiration for your day-to-day life. I'm so sorry we're coming to you a little bit later than usual. I was extremely exhausted. It is all my fault, but I hope you enjoyed this full moon. Hello and welcome. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, Dennis. How are you today? Much better.
Yes, very alive.
Very vibrant.
Yes, very much so.
Amazing. That's great. Dennis and I, we always have this pre-talk before we record a podcast, and then we're like, okay, what are we going to do this time, and what are we going to speak about? And just before we hit the record button, he was like, "What do you think about Osho?" And we were speaking about the spiritual community and how the spiritual community is on TikTok and today and what's going on. And so I said, like, let's record that. It's so funny, the discussion. So yeah, Osho was one of those big teachers in the 70s and 80s in the States. And I mean, I know people from Switzerland and from Europe that traveled to go and see Osho in his ashrams in the States, like many of them. That was like a hype time. It's the
Mm.
same with Yogi Bhajan. Like there was Osho, Yogi Bhajan, there was it's Hare Krishna that was there as well. So, there were a couple of those spiritual playboys. No, I mean there were high spiritual teachers, but they were good looking. It helps.
And they understood, they when there's a spaciousness when you're able to recognize, I know I'm not this vessel, but I know that I'm able to use the vessel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you do, and that's what you do good and great. And I mean, I think it's really interesting because in the Piscean age, which was like, the Piscean age started a long time ago, but like now we changed. They say in December 2020 we changed from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age with the aligning from Saturn and Jupiter on 0 degrees Capricorn. That was like the deep grounding in of this Aquarian age energy. And the Piscean age energy was a masculine energy. It was a lot of structure. It was a lot of the whole industrial age, past 2,000 years basically. So a lot of knowledge which was transformed and out of into the industrial age and all of that. And now we're in this Aquarian age, and like all those teachers, they were in the Piscean age, right? They were like those masculine teachers, and there were only feminine. Like as a feminine, you only could go like spiritual holy as a nun, or like Mother Teresa or Amma,
Mm.
or in India there were many of them, but still until today there are not very many spiritual teachers that are women.
There
So
should be.
there
Mm.
should there
In
must
my personal opinion, women are more spiritual.
well women have a completely different um need to be spiritual,
Mm.
because the need of a woman to be spiritual is to nurture their children with the spiritual concept. That's basically the inherited need, and to hold community together. Women are very nurturing.
Mm.
Like I never forget, like when I was like in the, I think it was 2015, but don't, like maybe 16, I don't remember exactly. But there was a huge crisis here in Europe where a lot of people from Syria, from Lebanon, where because there was a war going on, they came to Europe, and there were a lot of asylum seekers. That's probably the right word. Like they were
They were
fleeing their
seeking refuge.
refuge. Yes, refugees. That's the best word. Okay, a lot of refugees were coming over the Aegean Sea from Turkey to Greece, and Greece is Europe and Turkey is not. So they came from Turkey to Greece over the sea, and many of them died. Many of them died. And then they came up the Balkan route, which is like Greece, Macedonia, Serbia. Like they went up there, and it was winter, like now. And it was like minus 20 degrees Celsius, was, I don't know in Fahrenheit, but it's very fucking cold, like very cold. And the refugees didn't have clothes. So I was like, I couldn't, I read the newspapers and I was like, I cannot, like, what the fuck is going on? Why don't they get them clothes? At least that they're not dying from freezing. So what I did was I was like having a Facebook post, a little one, and I was like, whoever has some winter jackets, gloves, and scarves and hats at home doesn't need it anymore. Please bring them to my parents. My dad had a car repairing company. Please bring it there, and I will make sure that we bring it to the Balkan route to those refugees. And within a week, we had like 4 tons of materials. I had to organize a whole truck, a 40-ton truck, and we went down to Macedonia. We put the truck down to Macedonia, and we went down there, and then we gave out the clothes to the refugees. And what was really interesting were 2 things. The first thing was, like, all the clothes that I got it from moms. Like, there were some dads, but almost all the clothes were like moms. They brought me back packages of children's clothes, and you opened the bag and it smelled like fresh washed clothes.
Mm.
Or those little ski things where you put the babies in, and then they're like they're like this. And they brought toys and cuddle animals and, you know, all of that. um Diapers we had, but it was all women. And the women let their children make some drawings for the children as refugees, to welcome them and to give them something, you know. I'm always getting goosebumps when I tell this story, because it's so, like, the power women have, the nourishment that they can bring to this planet, the nourishment that a woman can, like, that female can bring, is just incredible. And then we were on this Balkan route, and it was like they came with, you know, flip-flops with minus 20 degrees, and they had 3-4 children with them. So we were dressing the children in warm clothes, because the clothes get like wet, you know. And then we were dressing the children. We gave jackets to the moms, and, you know, those moms there, how they protected their children without their husbands, without nobody. They came in groups, the moms. They organized themselves to protect the children. And there's probably no, for me, and I do understand why so many great teachers speak about the power of the female. Because a woman, like a healthy woman, not when you're mentally ill, but a healthy woman has the possibility to nourish countries. That's what Princess Diana did. That's what the princess in Jordan, like, in Jordany, there is the Queen Rania, her name. Like, those women, what they're doing with how they're emanating nourishing energy is just, it's the best. Women will always also be the reason for peace. There's no woman would ever go to war, ever. It would never happen. But since the female energy is suppressed by the masculine energy through this Piscean age, which was necessary to build structure, like, look at what we all have. Yeah, that's the most amazing power of female.
There should be more major teachers that are female. And I do notice the major teachers, spiritual teachers, that are men, and they say that women are more spiritual. I mean, it even goes down to, you know, the physicality of it. I mean, women are more in tune with their bodies, more in tune with the intuition, more in tune with the emotions, more in tune with the moon cycles. Like you're reminded every month it's time to release. For men, it's like, no, you just go and go and go and go and go. And
Yeah.
very majority of the time logical. And what I have noticed though is the adoption of the masculine ego within the feminine.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of chaos internally. And
It's because of a lack of security.
mm,
As soon as a woman is lacking the security of the masculine of a man, like you can build some of the security structure within you, but as soon as a woman is lacking the security and the consistency of a masculine, she has to adapt to the masculine ego by herself, and that's always not healthy.
mm. And that may not even stem from romantic partners. It could be seeing how their mother was with their partner, or so on and so forth. The lack thereof. I've seen it within my past relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying every one of them, but I've been able to see that dynamic where it was the apple falling from the tree. So it was the reflection of that. And it was like the passing of the karma. So there's my karma, and it lays on. But there's this beautiful thing where you're able to tap into both those energies within you. But first you have to be able to recognize the dynamic within you. It's touching into the physicality of it. And then you're able to access those other dimensions within you. And I really don't feel there's any limits human beings can reach. I don't think there's a single limit. I think the expansion can happen no matter what body you walk around in.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for me, Eckhart Tolle is the best example for that. He wrote his first book when he was like 50.
Mm.
Like he was not young, you know. He wasn't born enlightened.
No.
No, he was not.
Yeah.
He was like, he's a strange guy. He looks a little bit strange. He looks a little bit like a fish. And he's a strange guy. He has this strange Asperger behavior, and you know he has this creepy laugh. Like we think it's funny, but he's creepy actually. Like if he wouldn't be like this enlightened person, you could think he's creepy, right?
Oh,
But
for sure.
but now he's like this, and that's what it is. Enlightenment is a vibration.
Mm. It was so when I first started paying attention to Eckhart, what really drew me with him as a teacher, one, I was going through the dark night of the soul and he kind of just fell into my lap. But his story was very similar to my own, and how it progressed with the breaking down of recognizing the ego and seeing what it was and going through the ego death and paying attention to a thought and becoming aware of it. That was the big shift for me, because in his story, he says, he was sitting there and he remembers saying to himself, I wish I wish I was dead, or I wish I could kill myself, or something of that nature, where he put the I and the myself in the same sentence. And when you recognize, he asked the question, and it started with the question, well, am I or am I myself? Which one am I? And that's what really shifted the whole thing. And then his was a lot quicker than mine. Okay. Mine took multiple ego tests. His,
Nobody's is quicker. Believe me, there is no subtle enlightenment. It doesn't exist. That's what they tell you, but it's not the case. It's impossible. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm doing this since 25 years, and I've seen a lot of teachers. I've seen a lot of things. I haven't met one which was enlightened like this. No one. It's not possible. It's like, oh yeah, like Moji Baba, he says, I was sitting in a church and then I was like there and I saw God. Yeah, good for you, but that doesn't mean you're enlightened. That just means that you're on the way then. And then he went to India for 20 years. It's not subtle enlightenment, it's the spark. It's like when you had your first dark night of the soul, it was the spark, but the work after that, there's more work to that. This is how the human incarnation works. It's not like, oh, you got the concept, oh, now you can do it forever. No, that's not how it works. It never was. It's not for you, it's not for me, it's not for anybody. Nobody is a better human. It's all that have the same bodies. Even the Dalai Lama, like yesterday we always have this Monday cooking thing. Since 17 years I cook on Mondays with my friends, and we had this discussion about enlightenment, and they were like, yeah, but the Dalai Lama was born enlightened. No, the Dalai Lama was born. He was reincarnated as the Dalai Lama, but he started working on his job when he was 3. They started teaching him when he was 3. He started reciting mantras when he was 3. He started, like, this is a body of work. It's every day. Even the Dalai Lama, even Moji Baba, even Eckhart Tolle, like, you understand the main concept of I and myself and the thought and the emotions, and that you're not that, and then, yeah, good for you, but still, I mean,
We can disagree.
okay, we do.
Like I said earlier, anything is possible. And when you move past thought and your conceptual understanding, that expansion within you, the life, the actual life, the emptiness, the nothingness touches you in places. Well, what is enlightenment then? When we ask that question, is it the lightening of everything? Or is enlightenment the start of the full transformation? There could be the enlightenment, which is the awareness. You recognize, and you're in that pure awareness, and you recognize, okay, I'm not these thoughts, I'm not these emotions, I'm not these energies. I understand that I'm the one observing of them. And then it starts the true transformation. Is enlightenment the first stepping stone of walking on the path? And before that, there's nothing. So that's the question. The concept of enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Is it the enlightening of all things? Is it recognizing everything that you are and that you're not?
Yeah, it's a question of definition of the wordings, probably.
Mm. I don't think we can know enlightenment.
I think
I know I never will.
no. I think the problem in the spiritual community, in this new age community with enlightenment, is there is a tendency towards spiritual ego, like spiritual chauvinism, when it comes to this discussion. And it's like, I meet a lot of people in this spiritual community now, and I see a lot of things. And I hear a lot of talk of a lot of people. And I look at them and I'm like, yeah, no, that's a part of it. Yes, cool. Like, good for you. But, the spiritual ego of a lot of teachers is like huge, like huge. And there's always the question, why do you think that what you have to say, or why do you think that you need to save people? Why do you think that your storyline is so important for someone else? Like, there's a lot of masking going on from my perception.
I remember when I was really going through, I think it was the 3rd dark night of the soul, and I recognized I kept speaking on the spiritual ego. When calling something a spiritual ego, for my perception at least, was just another separation, where it's all just ego, where you derive your sense of identity. It's like there's a lot of talk of the spiritual ego, and it says, you play with crystals, and you talk about these experiences that you have, and then you label it as spiritual ego. And it's like, well, what is that? That's just another form of ego. It's not any different. You just play with crystals and say a couple chants. There's no difference. It's still ego. It's still there. But the cool thing about ego is I recognize that the ego, there really isn't an ego. Ego as we know it is where you derive your sense of identity. So if you are able to recognize that you're not your mind, you're not your body, what is an ego then? It's just repeating patterns. That's all it is. And if you're the observing presence being able to recognize that, then there's nothing to really hold on to. Then you're using those patterns or thought forms or emotions to be able to guide and use as the tools as they were supposed to be used for.
Yeah, I agree. So that's why I think we had this discussion a couple of podcasts ago. And I said it's not possible to not have an ego. And what you just said, I agree. Like there's always this behavior pattern, thought pattern, belief system that we will always have a belief system as a human. It's not possible to not have one. It's impossible.
I want to test it.
Yes, do.
That's what this whole journey for me is. It's not
Mm.
about anybody else. It's about me being able to question and go through this entire system to figure this all the way out. I want to know every belief. I want to know if I can believe or not believe. I want to know if I can do just about anything with this body. I want to figure out it all. I want to figure out this mind. I want to understand the entire system that's going on within me. Because when I figure that out, then then I know everything. Because this is no separate from that. That is a combination of this.
You're part of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're
I
part.
am that.
Yeah. You're as a human, it looks like we're separate from that, from this source energy, from the big oneness thing. That's how it looks, but in essence, we're all one. You
Mm-hmm.
and I, and the computer, and the
All
microphone,
of it.
all of it. We're all one. We're all made of atoms. Like everything on this planet, everything in the universe is made of atoms, and every atom has 99.8% space in it, and some light bulb. And it's like, in essence, to understand in essence that we are all the same, and that but how we experience human life is through separation. We're going through separation, and we're coming back into oneness, into balance, into oneness, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole journey. And there is one really good spiritual teacher. I like her a lot because she's so clear. Her name is Teal Swan. And Teal Swan, for me, she's as far as I know, the best spiritual teacher when it comes to explaining things. She has so many YouTube videos where she's explaining concepts, where she's explaining energetically also what is depression, what is narcissism, what is this, what is that. Like, she explains it all. You can go there. She's amazing. And I think what's really nice is that she says even source doesn't know it all. Even source haven't had the experience of having the information to go from an analog planet to a digital planet, from a digital planet to a new planet where it comes where we're all living in some kind of a staged reality. So what source is doing, it's separating itself, sending down information, and then it's finding out things it doesn't know through the separation, which is really interesting. And we're doing constantly is like fighting against the separation, but the beauty of the human incarnation is experiencing those separations within us, and then coming back to oneness in the separation.
It's like it actually came to me. I don't know when it did. It just did. The speaking of the void that we feel within us as humans. There's this the void that people are constantly trying to fill, whether that's filling it with relationships, with their job, their work, anything. It's just trying to fill it, right? Anything within them. So when you look out into the physical reality, that creation's constantly happening. New molecules, new atoms. Well, I don't know about atoms, but new things are constantly being created, right? Things are new tree, new bird, always just constantly going and going and going. It's trying to fill the space, but the space can never be filled. Same with that void within us. That void within you is not meant to be filled, it's meant to be embraced. See, the momentum of evolution is space needs to be filled, but therefore it can never be. When you start looking within, you understand the evolution of this body, then you recognize that that spaciousness and that momentum of evolution is actually happening within you as well. When you actually take that moment to be still and embrace that void, then you're embracing the spaciousness. So
Yeah.
basically what you were just explaining is that.
And it's really fascinating. Even though that is the case, even though our physical body, always a third of our cells are dying, a third are just alive, and a third were reborn, always, constantly. And what's really interesting about that, what I feel, is our nervous system is suggesting our body that he wants to be relaxed and safe and sound, like safe and sound. Like the body always wants to be chill, safe, and easy. And our soul always wants more expansion. And more expansion means a higher form of experience on this planet. So this is the spiritual conundrum, basically. The body wants to relax, the soul wants to expand. And this is like, it shows in every little thing. Like, and what's really interesting is most of society at the moment is giving the body this relaxing security feeling. I mean, it's not secure at all, but we pretend it is, right? And but so the expansion is not really well. Like people want to have, like they don't want to have transformation all the time. They want to have like the same houses and the same space, and they want to have financial security and the same job and the same experience, the same relationship, and they want to, have a relaxed and cool life. But the soul is like, no, sorry, but this is not how it works. Let's have a bigger experience of this whole thing down here. And so what I find, like I wrote an article yesterday. And in this article, I wrote about the reason why, how this body communicates with us, how the vibration works. And yeah, it's about spaciousness and emptiness and leaving the empty space empty and embracing it and sitting with it. And it's all part of it.
Mm.
You could have in the 50s.
The beautiful thing about that spaciousness is that it's the same spaciousness within everything. So when you're able to actually still within, and there's blips of it. I know people experience it and they don't know what it is, but I even saw it within myself. I would attach it to something. It's like, oh, this made me feel so at peace and relaxed. Like it was that thing that made me feel that way.
Yeah.
And I notice it within people as well. They want to attach their peace and their sense of relaxation to other people. I mean, you do it happens all the time. I attach my love to you. I attach my hate to you. I attach this. I attach that. And we give people free reign to dictate how we feel within us. And that is not the way it should be. How you feel and how you think is totally your privilege. You should take complete ownership of that. And I'm speaking to you listening here. But the same spaciousness is within all of us. So when you tap into that spaciousness within you, you tap into the same spaciousness that's within all things. And when you allow yourself to fully fall into that, you can't even explain it with words. This is just an experience you need to have. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah. It's at the end, like, since we agree on that everything is made of atoms and every atom has a vibration. So, like, when you're sitting in the emptiness of the atoms, the the totality of the emptiness of the atoms that you're currently experiencing life in. That's where you can connect to the totality of the atoms around you and wherever in space they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where you experience a visceral level of oneness.
It's
When
like the skin doesn't even exist anymore
no, it
because
doesn't.
we
There is no separation.
when you're so focused in your head, it's like you don't even notice the space around you, and that the molecules in the air is communicating with the skin that is in one with that, and then also communicating with the room that you're in and the building that you're in and the town that you're in and the community that you're in and every single person that's in that same area and the entire planet, and that planet's connecting with every other planet. It goes on and on and on and on.
Yes.
It's very physically, you can see that in reality.
And it's really funny because the only, like, again, the only way how we can experience our reality in this physical body is over the nervous system, over our five senses. That's the only way a human experiences reality. So there is like the kinesthetic sensation, like feeling. Then there is the auditive sensation, hearing, the visceral, the eyes. Then we have the nose, the smelling, and the tasting. And those are the five senses we're having. That's all the whole reality we're experiencing outside of us is because our nervous system is ending at a certain point in this physical body. But when you're able to extend your consciousness, because that's what you do when you do exercises like that, when you're then you have the sense of oneness with everything, and that's when you can experience oneness on a visceral level in a limited physical body. And it takes a little bit of like you have to, this is like a muscle, the brain, the auric field, like everything that it's a muscle. If you train it, like how many hours did you sit in meditation over the past 1.5 years?
In the last week.
Countless hours, right? I mean, and if someone would have told you 5 years ago that you would be in a space where you have hundreds of thousands of followers on a social media platform, make your money with being present with people and like selling merch and having an own brand, you would be like, yeah, no, how should I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was not in a field of possibilities. So
And if they would have told me, I would have sabotaged it.
yeah, of course you would have. Of course, because your ego, you're also like, we all have those points of insecurity, like our lack of self-esteem would do that even. And it's really beautiful. Like, I would love to invite our listeners to be open to surprise yourself. Like, just there's this Moji Baba, which is one of those big masculine teachers. He always says, try not to think of the future. Try not to have goals. Let the future surprise you. It will be so much better. Like, step into the flow of life and to the connection of all, and speak from that point of connectedness, and but the connectedness with yourself especially, and like stay within you, do you, and then you will be good. Like,
And that's the beautiful thing, is when you really start connecting with that, then when you want to set goals, they're coming from a more real place. When you're able to establish in a way that clearness of thought, where it's like, you know what, this isn't coming from a place of scarcity. This isn't coming from a place where it's only self-driven. This is something expanding for many and other. It's expanding for life itself. And that's the beautiful thing about tapping into that spaciousness.
yeah,
There's always that conversation like, oh, be no thought, be no thought, be no thought. You can experience that, yes, but thoughts are never going to stop.
It's
The
not the
experience,
goal.
but the experience of no thought is when you realize you don't have to pay attention to them.
They're coming anyway.
If your brain stops, you're done.
Yeah.
You're out of the game, coach.
Yeah.
Pack
Like
it up.
it's like your brain stops when your breath stops, and your breath is counted for this lifetime.
Hmm.
Very simple.
Yeah.
And it's not the goal to not think.
Mm-mm.
God, we're incarnating this human body, which is a miracle by itself. I mean, come on, how is this even possible that it's built? Like it's functioning so perfectly. Like, and then you're like, I don't want to have parts of it just because the vibration that you're downloading is shit. Like this is not how it works as a human being.
Mm. Just identify with some stuff that you're not. And that's like, if you were, let's put this into perspective. If you really truly understood that you weren't your thoughts, do you think that they would bother you?
They don't.
Exactly. I was actually having this conversation with a dear friend of mine, and he was like, "Man, I just whenever I have bad thoughts, man, I flip it and I try to make it a good one." And I'm like, "Dude, you're at war in your head." I was like, there are no good or bad thoughts. There's just thoughts. And I was like, I'll give you a visual representation of how that's actually happening in our society. There's always a good guy and a bad guy. So there's always a fight and a war going on.
Duality.
So what's happened in our mind, we have reflected outside of us as well. So it's literally when you look around and how we have constructed the society in which we all dance in, it's all a reflection of the mind and the way that we put ourselves about, like literally the places that we live in and work at are all boxes because mentally we like to put ourselves in a box because it's safe. That changes things as well when you start noticing that.
Yeah. And again, it's the planet of duality. This planet gives you like the amazing thing about this human incarnation, about being in a physical human body, is that you have the ability to choose. You have free will. That's like God given. You are able to choose what do you fuck? Who do you go to bed with? Is it like constructive energies? Is it balancing? Is it you were shocked? Okay.
That took me way. I was
Or
not expecting
yeah,
that.
but that's what it is. Who do you fuck with? Do you fuck with constructive, balance, healing energies, or do you fuck with destructive, good or bad? That's the whole game, and it's a decision. And if you're not deciding, you're deciding.
Well,
That's how it works.
this is the cool thing as well, is destructive can be good.
It is good because it's the only way we grow. It's the
Mm,
only pain is good because it's growth.
mm.
Relationship heartbreak is good because it's growth. Grief is good because it's growth. Like having no finances and having no money is great because it's growth. It lets you grow, have a bigger experience of something. And
Say yes to life.
say yes to life, say yes to the free will, especially. And
Mm.
my only thing is like what I would people love to have and to understand is that they have a choice, because that's apparently what people don't understand. People don't understand that they're having a choice and
And I
they're
think
not
that
making it.
that big thing is when they're so tied into their thought patterns,
Yes,
do
I
they
know.
really have a choice though?
No, they don't
Because
think
if they're constantly in their thought patterns, they believe that they are their thoughts and they're victims to their emotional patterns. Do they ever
yes.
really truly have the free will?
No, they cannot, because they think they cannot. That's like that's what the message is, and I think it's the most important message of the whole. For me, if I can have one message in this lifetime that is really going out, is you have a free will. Please access the free will that you're having. And you can Google it. There are like 1,000,001 techniques that you can choose from. You choose whatever you like. We say you do meditation and yoga, for your daily practice, and then you clear your dark shit, you clear your trauma, the trauma of your ancestors, the trauma of everyone that you ever experienced. Those cells, the things that we're living in, they are on this planet since the beginning of time. Let's be very clear on that. I was a tree, I was a stone, I was a water, I was a cloud, I was everything before. A fish, a cow, whatever, even a dinosaur. We were all even dinosaurs. Our cells do not go away from this planet. You die, you go back into earth, you become a food, you become a plant, you become water, parts of us were everything already. That's the most amazing thing about it. So you are everything. You are connected to everything. Everything within you is connected with everything, and it's not going away. So please enjoy this life. It's so amazing. You have breaths to take. You have a lifetime to enjoy. Make it count. You're coming here as a soul. Why are you not doing your job? Why are you not accessing your free will? I really don't get it. I have friends, they were on the path, and because it was a little bit too heavy doing yoga every day, they stopped everything. And they're like, yeah, but now I'm good. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not doing your job. Like, and if I like people around me, like for me, it's difficult to see. It's difficult to watch people not really, like, do you know how many souls want to come down here and have an incarnation? Do you know how many are waiting up there? And we're like zombieing around on planet Earth and not accessing our free will, even though it's God-given. I don't get it. I really don't.
You know, people,
I know.
they get lost, you know. We were there at one time as well, going about our business, doing our due diligence. And, you know, even some of the greatest teachers still fall into their little patterns, depending on their level of self-awareness. Sometimes the game is so great you let yourself.
Yes, of course. It's done fantastically, the game. And yes, of course. But
Very passionate, Nicole. Look at that. You came
yeah.
out of nowhere with that fire.
No, that fire is there all the time. I just not, I know.
Stop putting it away.
Yeah, but the point is, as a therapist, I know how long transformation takes. That's why I cannot speak to people like that all the time. Like, I really, from the bottom of my heart, if move your ass, like it's now. It's so cool to be here. But it takes time and it takes effort, and you need to access your free will, and you only are able to access your free will if you're having discipline. That's why, in the old, like in all the great teachings and all the great mystery schools, it's all the time, it's a daily practice. It's do your job, because only when you have a discipline, you can access the information that you get of thought, of emotion, of things that are coming towards you. You can take those into consideration, and then you use your free will, your discernment, to access your life. That's what you do. And then you're like, ooh, I see, I have thoughts in that are saying, ooh, that's very risky to build a company like LI Vision and to put all my money into that. And then you have the emotion, and then there's probably a certain kind of excitement, but also fear. And then you're like, your soul is like, yeah, but that's what we're going to do. And then you're like, okay, I access my free will, and I'm choosing to go towards connection, towards balance. That's how you do it.
Become so free, you begin to enjoy an ordinary life.
Yeah. And, it's a game. My most favorite interview that I saw in the past year was the one from Elon Musk, where he was like, we were discussing with friends, is it probable that we're living in a virtual reality, how do you say that? Or to reality
Video game.
video game, or is it not possible?
Simulation.
As in a simulation. And he said, like, well, you know, in his Elon Muskish way with his funny face, he's like, well, we thought about it. And when I look at the tempo of the evolution of AI, and so we came to the conclusion that it's most probable that we're living in the Matrix and that we're living in a virtual reality game. And then I was listening to that. I was like, imagine it would be the case, and it's just the game. How much would you enjoy that game? Like, how would
Yeah.
you enjoy it?
And he said we were either the first
Or the
or the
last
last.
generation
Mm-hmm.
that has no virtual reality. And you know, the whole thing why I am doing the thing that I do with Bettina, with you guys, with Li Vision, with my Ellie, is when we're going, and we will be going with the metaverse in the next 20, 30 years latest, into this virtual reality experience even deeper, you know, our children will work in virtual reality.
Oh yeah.
Our children's children will only work in virtual reality. So that means they're laying like in the Matrix on a chair all day with a VR glasses and with sound, and they will have meetings there, and they will have discussions, and you know, and they will have digital avatars that are meeting together. So you need to have your body under control. There is in your physical body, over the chakras, in your auric field, there are access points to energies, to things that you cannot get in any other type, shape, way, or form. This physical body, the physicality of this incarnation, is the greatest gift you can have. And you need to understand it. That's why I'm so pressured to give out those teachings. That's why we have so many yoga teachers, so many meditation teachers, because when people start to go into this virtual reality, when they're not having their body under control, they will just be like dead.
So I think it's going to start off that way with, people laying down and then going into the virtual reality. But then that virtual reality is going to come out into the physical reality. Like we're going to wear glasses, or we're going to have a particular lens, and we're going to see it everywhere. Like the virtual reality will be reality.
Yeah. It will even be probably that you're having chips in your eyes, and then you have the
Yeah.
way. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's really cool. You know, everybody's like, oh, that scares me. No, that's cool. It's even
Evolution.
deeper. It's evolution, and it's going even deeper into, you know, the miracles your physical body can do for you.
Yeah.
Places you can travel with your physical body, over time traveling, over soul traveling, over, you know, the possibilities are endless. Your physical body, you can put it somewhere. For example, you travel to Egypt, to the pyramids in Cairo.
I was literally just thinking about the pyramids. Like right before you said that, like the pyramids just.
I got it. I saw it. You travel to Egypt, to the pyramids. And when you're physically there, what happens is, in your physical body, because the cells were always there, you have access to knowledge that you never had before. And you know, this knowledge, this vibrational field of Egypt, will activate some vibrational fields within your physical body, which will allow you then new thought patterns, new ideas, new expansion within your own physical body. And we need to access these possibilities, because as a human, there is no greater good than you living within this physical body. And what I don't like about these big teachers is they're all saying, you're not your body, you're not your thought, you're not your emotions. Yes, you're not, but you're supposed to work with it. You're supposed to work together with it. Your physical body is your friend. It's not your enemy.
So the beautiful thing about that, though, is they're showing people what they're not, therefore they can use it as the tool it's meant to be used for.
That's not what they're doing. I saw, you know, I was studying those teachers. I what I do is I study people. That's my thing. I study them. And what they do is they have all those people around them, those followers, or how do you call them? Those, what's the English?
Devotees.
Devotees. I love that word. Thank you. They have all those devotees. And what they understand is ignore what there is. And just, if you ignore it enough, and if you understand enough that you're not your grief, like tell someone that loses a child, you are not your grief. The grief is so visceral. That's a fucking ridiculous saying. It's not fair. Someone that was a girl. I had so many girls in my trauma therapy that were sexually abused. Tell someone that was sexually abused in their childhood, you are not your pain, you're not your sexual abuse. Fuck you. That's just not fair. It's not working like that. Your physical body has stored those experiences, those emotions, those things in order for you to relate with it and to then transform it and to then not identify with it. That's the game. The game plan of human existence is your physical body is giving you a resonance, and the relationship you're having is like, you're like, oh, you're presenting a resonance for me. Thank you very much, dear physical body. Let's see what's stored. And then you have 5 senses, and some of those 5 senses have information for you. So I'm having a heartache, let's say, and then I'm going into that heartache. I'm like, okay, what do you have in store for me? This is a cloud, a data cloud. Every cell stores data. The amount of data that are stored in our 7 billion cells is mind-blowing. Like every disk that you had on the best computer on this whole planet is shit against your physical body. And we're like, oh, I don't want to be my body. Yes, you're not your body, but you're supposed to work with it. It's your vessel. But yeah, I think it's whatever you do in this life, just know that you can choose. There is a choice. There's a price to pay for the choices that you make, but there are choices. And there are people on this planet, they know how that works, and you can access it through 100 different ways. And what we say is, Dennis says, breathe and meditate and don't identify. I say the same, but in addition to that, your body is your friend and it wants to tell you something. If you're having migraines, it wants to tell you something. If you're having anxiety disorder, it wants to tell you something. If you have an ADHD brain, it wants to tell you something. It's like, it's a relationship and it's all good. There's no bad. I'm done being passionate today. I will
I
no
feel like
longer.
you got it all off your chest.
Well, no, there is much more. There would be much more.
See, this
But
is the beautiful thing about the many paths is, well, could work for one, on someone understanding, okay, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not sensation, I'm not my trauma. Someone may be easier in that way for them, depending on the level of memory that's been stored or how easy it is for them to let go of the memories. That could work for them. And for someone else, there may take more work of doing particular stretches or clearing or more speaking and all of these different things.
yes,
One of the most beautiful things that I think I experienced was when I recognized that I wasn't the sensations of the body either.
yes, you're not.
So when you only know yourself as the body and you only know yourself as the mind, right? And you start recognizing, okay, I'm not this intellect. I'm not these thoughts. I can see them. I recognize that, I'm not the one like really thinking. I'm the one still observing them. I can choose to tap into particular thought waves or thought patterns and, grind those gears. And then when you start recognizing the sensations and how far the sensations go, and then just nothing.
Yes,
That place. That's the place.
yes.
Maybe it's not.
Well, it's at least a place where you can connect to everything. That's what it is. It's a place for connection.
it's like the place, but it's no place.
It's
So
no
even
place.
talking about it, it's like, that's not it.
No, it's not. But still, the reason why Dennis is attracting so many followers and why he's so popular and why people love him so much is a vibrational reason. It's the vibration of his soul emanating through this physical body, through sound, through the voice, but also through sound, through an auric sound. Because his thought patterns are calm, his vibrational patterns on a mental level are very calm, and that's what's attracting people. So this no place that he was talking about is a place of vibration, of connection. That's what it is. You're connecting through this nothingness, no placeness. That's where you connect to everything. And that's why people are so attracted, because it's a vibrational field. It's a vibrational field of peace, of oneness. That's why your name makes so much sense. That's why everything that is emanating outside makes so much sense. And this is the great gift that, like, because it's his job, like, and let's not get confused. Like, in my past, 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I want to be like him. I want to emanate like freedom and peace as well. But this is not my job. My energy is a completely different one. And my soul's essence is a completely different one. I'm like, it's not my job to sit to spread out peace. My job is to spread transformation. I have a completely different job. And so find your essence in your thing. Find your deep truth, your deep joy. Like, joy is very attractive, I feel.
See, the beautiful thing is, I want people to recognize that the spaciousness that they feel whenever, we communicate or anything of that nature is the same spaciousness. Like, it's all the same spaciousness.
Yes.
And I'm really, really in love with chaos.
Yeah, you love it.
And that's what keeps me peaceful.
Yes. Yes.
Is the chaos.
Mm-hmm. But that's not what's touching people. What's touching people is the connection. And then you're
The
like,
chaos comes.
uh-huh. It's beautiful. It's like, yeah. And I mean, the way you do your job is just so amazing. It's so beautiful to look and to see, like, how much expansion and how much peace you're emanating for such a lot of people. Like, you're a vessel to hold that space for the people, and they really like it because it's necessary.
You just got to give yourself away.
Yeah.
Not everyone's willing to do that.
No, it's a high price that you're paying for that one.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. Like, at least some of us.
You got to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
Every action has a consequence. And
Everyone, but that's why it's so important to access your free will. You need to understand the price you're paying for things, and you need to be discerning if you want to pay it or not. And, like, my teacher, she passed away last year, Guru Jagat. She said something really lovely, and I love that sentence. She said, there's some souls which are incarnating into this lifetime, and it's a full incarnation, and the only thing they do is be in this incarnation being once close to someone that is living their lives, their highest destiny. Just for, like, it could be in an airport, passing each other, or in a grocery store, or like somewhere online. And the whole incarnation of that person is just to be once, for some seconds, close to someone that is vibrating their highest destiny into the grid of Mother Earth. And I feel that is very true. And so that's why when you speak about the chaos, what the chaos does is it gives you a lot of compassion. It's the ability to see the chaos and to love the chaos makes you able to be very compassionate with everyone around you
And humbles the shit out of you.
and humbles the shit out of you. Yes. And so that's the great way of finding oneness in everything you touch. And then all of a sudden you love the crystal and you love your calming your beard and your mobile phone, and you're in connection to everything.
Yeah, this is a hell of a life we're living, yeah.
Yep.
Also, everyone that's listening, I want to thank you for tuning in every week and, spending time with us. I hope you had a great holiday. I'm pretty sure we probably said that in the last podcast, but just wanted to extra emphasize that. And we hope that you're getting any information that you need to, and that it's finding you in the way that it needs to find you, even if it triggers you. Hopefully it's helping you put things into perspective, or you can also tell us that we're full of shit. I'm totally okay with that.
Me too.
I love if you're in a room with only people that like you, and that doesn't mean I want to go in a room where everyone doesn't like me, but if that's the case, then that's the case. But if you're only in a room with people who like you, then what are you really standing for? What are you really trying to achieve? What are you really trying to change? And being able to recognize things within you that triggers you, that you may not believe in or you may not think is right, is a great indicator on where you could possibly expand within yourself. Not necessarily saying what they're saying is true because it triggered you, but what is it resonating within that made that trigger happen? And that's a beautiful point for expansion, and that's the chaos.
Yeah. I think that was a beautiful ending. What do you
I
think?
think so as well. I think I inserted that perfectly.
You did. Amazing. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening this week. And if you would like us to talk about anything, any spiritual concept, if you would like to have any explanations, let us know. We're very happy and very open to serve you the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, if you need to know something, let us know. We will integrate it into the podcast.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you're someone who is, majorly in the spiritual community and
Yeah,
wants to be a guest, maybe we can set that up as well.
absolutely.
Love to have new faces, new perceptions. I mean, that's what the whole thing's about, right?
Yeah. Connection. Amazing.
Methodologies.
Okay, you guys.
Have a beautiful week.
Thank you for listening. Bye.